Hello everyone, welcome back to House Gnome Gaming. This is Frostpunk, the Fall of Winterhome. On our last episode, we got our churches built. Here they are. We activated our sermon, and we are waiting for our hope to rise over 50%. Once we get to the 50% hope mark, we will have completed the Restore the City quest, and we'll be given another quest. We are currently exploring to find different areas. We had the weather station. We brought back all of our engineers to the city, so we are no longer getting weather forecasts up here, so we can't tell when the temperature is going to drop. So we're going to have to start building things in anticipation of that. We have a single coal mine going, and that is supplementing our 2 steam coal thumpers. So we won't need to research anything else in our coal line unless when we get to difference level 5 we want to do the coal thumper injectors, but it's really not going to be necessary. We don't need another level of the coal mine other than the one that was already researched for us when we got in the city. We're going to need a lot of steel later, so we're researching the advanced steelworks. We're not going to need more wood than this wall drill can produce. As a matter of fact, by the end we'll have a surplus of wood, so we're not worried about researching here. So once we get the advanced steelworks researched, we will be limited on this particular technology tab to gathering post insulation and maybe the large resource depot. I don't usually build the large resource depot just because it takes a lot of resources to build it to begin with. 150 wood and 75 per depot versus what our current resource depot takes to build, which is 40 wood and 20 steel. It's not a huge savings overall, although we are going to need a lot of resource depots, but we'll tear them down when we stop using them towards the end. So I don't typically do that one. All right, let's speed up time a little bit. Gathering post depleted, so we'll get rid of that one. And that means that's it for all the piles. We have cleared out all of the old burnt buildings, and the city is in much better shape. All that old ruins are gone. There is nothing. Freshwater springs. Several pools are kept from freezing by springs gushing from the fissure in the rocky bottom. There are plenty of fish in the water. Flashes of silver shimmer from the fish as they dart between submerged boulders, nibbling algae from them, a reminder of the greener past of this place. We don't know what species they are, but fresh fish would be a welcome addition to our menu. Alright, so we'll get 99 food from that, and let's continue to the snow dune. Alright, if we take a look at our economy tab, we're doing really well with our coal. We are getting a lot of coal gathered from our different gathering posts that we have on our 2 steam thumpers. Remember, each one of these steam thumpers can support 4 gathering posts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. We don't have a 4th one right now, but that's okay. We're gathering our coal plenty enough. We did finish gathering what was over here. No, we haven't actually. So we have 281 coal left here that this gathering post is gathering up, and once that's done, we'll remove this post. And then we'll probably start building some housing right in here around this steam hub so that we can upgrade some of these lower level houses and get things a little more condensed around the city. We do want to get rid of all the tents, because things are going to get pretty cold, and we've got almost 300 people living in tents, which we really don't want. Well, it looks like we got a few tents that we can condense down. We have this tent right here with no inhabitants, and then these 2 tents have 3 people in them each. If we demolish this tent, these 3 will go in here, and if we demolish this one, these 3 will fill in holes here. So I think we're going to do that. All right, so let's take a quick look. We want to demolish housing that is on the edge of our heat zones. Actually, we're going to want to get rid of these 3 bunkhouses right here because they are warm only because they're bunkhouses. They are not being affected by a steam hub. So we're actually going to want to get rid of these 3 and move their inhabitants elsewhere. Alright, so let's not tear anything down at the moment.
End of shift. Go rest all who can.
Rebirth of Faith. Sir, people have started to visit the House of Prayers. There aren't many of them yet, but it might be the start of something special. It seems they really needed a proper place of worship, and I am glad to hear that. And we've reached the stone ship, a distinct spot in Frostland. We can use it as a waypoint for further exploration. Our search hasn't uncovered anything of value, but we may be able to reach some more promising locations from here, and we have discovered the steel bridge, so we'll carry on to the steel bridge. Our coal and our food rations are topping out on our storage capacity, so let's go ahead and build just a couple more resource depots. I'll assign that one to coal. We are going to need to do something about our food situation. We are currently at a negative food consumption rate, so we're going to need to research down this food tier here. We're not doing too horribly with our sick. We've got 26 being treated and 39 amputees, but there's no one, well, spoke too soon. Now there's a couple of people waiting to be treated, but it's not pressing at the moment. Snow Dune, a distinct spot in Frostland. We can use it as a waypoint for further exploration. Our search hasn't uncovered anything of value, but we may be able to reach some more promising locations from here. Alright, so both of those were nothing but waypoints. We've got some idle workers that we will do something with, but at the moment we don't need to do anything with them. I apologize if my voice sounds weird. There's flu going around my house right now, and I'm fighting it off, so apologies for the frog in my throat.
Get to work.
Steel Bridge. The bridge is maintained by an automaton. Its task is to keep it free of snow in case we need to transport resources across the ravine. The automaton works tirelessly to keep the bridge free of snow and passable for resource transports. If we send it to the city, we would cut off any outposts further down this route. Scouts will still be able to cross the bridge. Alright, we're going to leave the automaton because we want to be able to set up an outpost over here at the Iron Depot. Alright, so we have our advanced steelworks, and we don't really need to do much of anything else right now on this screen except for we'll start traveling down this faster gathering to get insulation eventually, but for right now let's work on our food. We're going to want to take both of these. We currently get 20 raw food. This will allow us to upgrade to get 30 raw food, which is an additional 10 per. And this will allow us to take 5 people off of each hut. Let's go ahead with the Flying Hunters and do the upgrade. That way we can get down to a hunter gear which will allow us to be more efficient. And we're going to upgrade our 2 steelworks once the workday ends. We have these 1, 2. All right, we're going to take another purpose law. We don't really need to go down the adaptation quite yet. Organ transplant would be nice, moonshine would be nice, and soup would be nice, but they can wait. What we really want to do is get to this House of Healing right here. So we're going to take the shrines, and then the next one will take us House of Healing. House of Healing will allow us to build House of Healings and staff them up with non-engineers. And in this case, because we took child labor, and you don't need the all jobs, you just need the safe jobs, because those were already taken for us, we'll be able to put children into the House of Healing, and they will do the medical work. We're going to take the shrines, and we're going to need to build 3 of these shrines. And the shrines are going to increase our hope as well, so these are actually very useful. So I like to build them near the steam hubs, so that they reach as many houses as possible. You only need 3, but because we're going to have some hope issues later on, I like to build more than that. Okay, those guys are almost there. Shrines have been erected, people feel encouraged to pray more often, and hope rises. See, we got a very significant hope buff from that. Sir, people have started to leave personal charms, beads, and written prayers at shrines as votive offerings. It seems it helps them to keep their spirits up in these trying times. I am glad to hear that, because we're going to need it. Okay, we are filling out on our coal and our food again. Alright, we've got the flying hunters researched. So the hunter gear will allow us to gather up to 45 raw food per hunt, which is great. But I'm going to go with the house redesign first, so that I can start upgrading some of these buildings to houses. Fairly late, so we'll only upgrade a couple of these, so we don't want to miss out on the evening hunt. Frozen forest. All the trees are dead, some of them cracked from the sudden frost that must have come in the middle of the Arctic summer. There's a fair amount of usable wood we can take with us to Winterhome, so we're going to take the almost 300 wood and head over to the rock formation. And then the iron deposit. A vein of ore was exposed by a narrow crack in the ice. The iron deposit is rich and easily accessible. We could set up an outpost here to process the iron and send the steel to the city. Good to know. Travel on to the frozen pond. Alright, so we're going to wait for our next shipment of coal to come in. And once it does, we will relocate the outpost over to the iron facility. Alright, and there's no more coal over here to gather, so we'll get rid of this gathering post as well. And it is also free time, so let's upgrade the steelworks. We're going to have some people get sick overnight because we have them out building in the cold. But that's okay, because we're down to 11 people in our medical facilities. Frozen Pond, a distinct spot in Frostland. We can use it as a waypoint for further exploration. Our search hasn't uncovered anything of value, but we may be able to reach some more promising locations from here. And we've discovered the storm shelter, and I believe storm shelter is the last one in this direction. And book of laws. Houses of healing. So we get to build one house of healing in order to fulfill our promise of the law. And then this allows us to put non-engineers in the building. The downside is you have to build the house of healing, which they're fairly resource intensive, 35 wood and 10 steel. But they hold more people than a healing house does, and you don't have to use engineers. However, because you're not using engineers, it's going to be a little slower to heal people. But that's okay, because again, we don't have a lot of sick right now, so it's a good time to build them. And they're pretty large. Start with one.
Wrap up well. The frost is here. The work shift starts.
Let's turn these heaters on. Alright, rock formation. A distinct spot in Frostland. We can use it as a waypoint for further exploration. Our search hasn't uncovered anything of value, but we may be able to reach some more promising locations from here. What are we carrying on these guys? Wood and food. Let's go to Broken Tree, and then we'll have them head back to the city and drop off. Alright, so we've got our House of Healing built. We're going to put some kids in it. And you can see it holds 20 patients versus medical post, which holds 10 patients. If we did not have the overcrowding law, then it would hold 10 patients, where the medical facility would hold 5 patients. All right, so we've redesigned the houses. Let's go ahead and insulate the gathering posts. That'll be quick. A child got distracted at work and has been injured. The accident was not serious and happened entirely due to the child's carelessness. I don't want to lose the hope, so we'll give them the day off even though they don't deserve it. And we're going to do another sermon. We're so close. People are cold. Yeah. That bunkhouse we're going to tear down. And let's go ahead and build a couple of homes so we can get rid of these cold homes. Here. It's really inefficient. It's always hard for me not to tear these things down and just completely rework the city. I hate this layout, but it's a waste of resources, and at the higher levels, it's a trap. Put one right there for now, and right there. That'll allow us to get rid of these 3 cold ones. Okay. And that took our gathering post temperatures up pitch, and so we can turn off their heaters now and save that coal. All right, what else do we want? Go ahead and do this automatic prototyping, get down to level 5. It takes a while. Storm shelter. As we enter the shelter, a group of scientists and explorers greet us warmly. We have some promising leads, but I'll understand if the exploration of Frostlands is given secondary priority in our circumstances, says the team leader. Shall we tell these people to leave their work and move to the city? So we can let them carry on. We can bring them to the city with us, or we can send them. Of course, if we send them, some of them will die and it'll take longer. We're going to bring them because we're done exploring out here anyway, so we need to get this group back to the city. And this is the cold homes trap. We're going to ignore that, but we are going to kill these 3 bunkhouses now. 1, 2, 3. And now we can start upgrading some of these tents that are well within heat zones, and then we'll need to move these ones that are on the cusp. But we need more resources before we start that. Oh, and I forgot to move our outposts. So let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to dismantle it, and we're going to send them to the iron deposit. There go our hunters. Yes, bring back all the foods. Broken tree. Our search hasn't uncovered anything of value. Rusting hulk. Alright, so yet another waypoint. Well, let's get your resources and then we'll start exploring this direction. That's a lot of hunters. Look at all of them. A mother has refused to let her daughter go to work, afraid she'll get injured. We could look the other way this time, but others may see it as unfair. Alright, that'll give us hope. That'll give us nothing. Well, let's take the hope. And that was just enough to push us over the edge. Winterhome has recovered under your able management. Your people will now follow you through thick and thin, convinced that you are the right leader for these trying and troubled times. Now we must find out what's wrong with the generator. First, we need to research and build the repair station so we can examine the generator. Okay, and here is our next quest. We have 4 days and 16 hours to research the repair station, build and man the repair station, and research the cause of the generator's malfunction in the repair station. And this is why we needed the House of Healing, because we're going to need to put a bunch of engineers on the repair station. So we're actually going to build a second House of Healing. Sir, we can now research a new technology that will allow us to build the repair station and investigate the generator. Let's take a look at the tree, and there it is right up there. Cheap to build, or cheap to research and to build. So that will be the next thing that we do.
Work time. Get back to work.
I'm going to put a steam hub right there because eventually we're going to need one for these 2 healing houses. But for right now, we don't need it running. And scouts number 1 are here. And we will send them out to the Rusting Hulk. To upgrade more of our food. They're all back. Upgrade 2 more of those. House of Healing. Sir, a dying old man has written a letter to you from the House of Healing. I will die a good death in due time, not in pain from illness or cold. I will die in peace, knowing that our city is in good hands. You understand that more than food and shelter, people need something to nourish their souls. For this, I thank you. May he depart in peace. Alright, got our prototyping done. And so now we can research whatever we want. Let's do the repair station. And let's go ahead and put out a couple more resource depots. Alright, these scouts have returned, so we'll send them to the rock formation to go out to the last camp. Okay, purpose. We don't need field kitchens. We will need evening prayers, but not right now because we want to get up to Faith Keepers eventually. But right now, let's move over to the adaptation tree. We're going to need prosthetics for sure because we have 39 amputees and we're going to want to get them back on their feet, but at the moment we don't have the building that we need to build the prosthetics research, so we can just wait on that one for a bit. Let's go ahead and take the emergency shift so that we can get to extended shifts. People don't like that, but we can offset it with the sermons once we get them. Work, work, work until you die. 24 hours on the job. Insane, but that's our lot. You know, we just signed a law. Nobody's assigned to it yet. By the way, if it's this late in the game, unless you're desperate, don't actually assign them to it because people will die. Alright. You head to the Rusting Hulk. You head to the rock formation. And you store fuel. And you store coal. And you store food. And with our new upgrades, you can see our food rations are starting to level out. And once we change them over to soup, that will become a positive. Oh, and look, they're just not so discontented after all. We can start upgrading some of these buildings now because we have resources. Where I need to move a couple of these. I definitely need to move this one. And there's a couple here that need to go elsewhere. 1, 2, 3 definitely need to be moved. One, 2. Okay, you guys just... I'm sorry. You guys gotta go. You're messing everything up. These guys are off-center and I can't build here properly, so... I gotta go. Once this one's done, we'll have more available spacing. There we go. 1, 2... Oh, look at you being all good now. We head out to the last camp.
Get to work. Move, people. There's plenty
Alright, repair station is researched. While they build that, go ahead and upgrade the generator power because that's expensive. Okay. Alright. So now we can get rid of this tent and this tent. And then we'll see what we look like once that's done. And let's get this repair station built. There's only one place that you can put that. Rusting Hulk. The rusting remains of one of our dreadnoughts. We have stripped this machine of almost all usable materials. In our hurry to get to the steel for the construction, we left some less accessible parts. Now we can get to them and retrieve some materials. Ooh, we get a steam core and a bunch of steel. Excellent. And send them to the last camp as well. No, you guys just, you chill, because I think some more stuff's going to open this direction and this one. In the wake of recent child worker accidents, the parents argued that we could give working children double rations to make them stronger and help prevent injuries. That is a good idea, but at the moment, we can't afford it. Well, we can afford to put a couple more Winterhome upgrades out there. And extended shift so that that's available if we want it. Okay, so you were complaining about 24 hours and you're still going to complain about extended shift. Never make you people happy. Sir, we've noticed that the dead in the snow pit have been divided into two heaps. In one lie the victims of the fires and the brutal attempt to pacify the riots, many with gunshot wounds. On the other, the charred corpses of the perpetrators, the previous leader and his men. Some people talk about throwing them out of the city, far away from the decent folk. We can get this filth out of our city, or they've already paid for their crimes. I don't really see any point in wasting the manpower to dump them. Alright, our repair center is built. We have 42 available engineers to man it. It needs 60. The more you have, the more efficient it is. So what we're going to do is see if we can get rid of some of our medical facilities. Patients. And we can. We have a bunch of facilities with no patients in it. So let's just tear these puppies down and relocate the workers on them. And if we need to, we can always build another house of healing. And also put housing there. 60. Perfect. A couple more resource depots. The chief engineer of the team investigates the cause of the generator malfunction, takes you aside. He is visibly concerned. I was thinking about the last of the dreadnought that brought us here, the only one we haven't taken apart yet. At first it seemed we'd have to dismantle it to fix the generator, but now I think we may need it intact after all, just in case, you know, we have to leave the city. I see. Alright, and the generator upgrade is done. Let's go ahead and improve the heaters a bit, because it is going to get quite chilly out there. I think once we finish researching the cause of the generator, we will call it there. Alright, we've reached the last camp. Numerous tents, empty crates, sledges, and countless frozen bodies. We're afraid we know where these poor people came from. We expected these people to make their way to Winterhome in the 3rd Dreadnought. Now it seems that some calamity must have befallen them. We should try to find the rest of them, and not just because this part of the expedition was carrying several steam cores. Okay, we're at 1 steam core and 142 steel. So send you off to the mighty wreck, and we'll send you back to the city with your goodies. Alright, the generator report is ready. Our engineers have finished inspecting the generator. It has a catastrophic flaw. It will keep breaking down, and each malfunction will cause the stress within the generator to start rising. We'll be able to patch it up using the repair station, but these fixes will not last for long. The generator will eventually break down permanently and then explode from the rising stress. Winterhome is doomed. Ooh, this place is a deadly trap. We need to get out of here. Save ourselves and our children. We must leave the city. Sir, the chief engineer says there's still hope. We didn't dismantle the last of our dreadnoughts. If we repair it, we can leave Winterhome and find another place to live. Yet people are doubtful. Where would we go? It's nothing but a frozen wasteland as far as they can see. We can lie and say that we know of another city, or we can be honest. People will lose heart. Work efficiency will fall by 10%. I find if you lie in this game, it comes back to bite you in the butt later, so we're going to be truthful. Prepare the evacuation. Our only option is to evacuate as many people as possible using the dreadnought we didn't fully dismantle. We first have to build an evacuation center, then we need to send engineers to refit the dreadnought. We'll need steel and steam cores to convert decks into cabins for people on board, and food rations to feed them through the journey, and coal to keep them warm, but they don't tell you that yet. Okay, and now we have our new quest, prepare for the evacuation. We have 16 days for that. We have to build the evacuation center, which goes right around here, and have the engineers on the dreadnought site. They give us the tech for the evacuation center. So we'll go ahead and get that started. And then it's just a matter of compiling resources and building them up. And we'll go ahead and do another house of prayer before we leave so that I don't forget next time. We're going to leave it here. Thank you for joining me for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like below. If you'd like to see more, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be notified when new videos come out. Once again, I'm House Gnome Gaming. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.